Each morning, the world begins again. The air is quiet, a pause before the noise returns. A faint glow slides across the curtains, and somewhere, a heartbeat reminds you, you are still here. Before thoughts rush in, before your phone lights up, there's a brief instant, so small it almost goes unnoticed, where life simply is. And in that fragile moment, something ancient whispers, you have been given another chance. But most days, we forget. We wake up already chasing, already comparing, already fearing we are behind. We scroll through other people's mornings, other people's victories, forgetting that the miracle was never in their lives. It was in the quiet pulse of our own. The Dalai Lama once said, "Every day, when you wake up, think, today I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life. I'm not going to waste it." It sounds simple, but simplicity, in our time, has become the hardest truth to live. Because to feel fortunate, not for what we have, but for the fact that we are, requires something we've nearly forgotten how to do, to be present. So before this day races ahead, ask yourself, when was the last time you truly woke up? Not just from sleep, but into life itself. We live in a time when life has never been more comfortable, and yet somehow, we've never felt more uneasy. Our homes hum with convenience. Our devices anticipate our desires before we even speak them. Food, entertainment, even affection, all delivered instantly, wrapped in the illusion of control. And yet, beneath the polished glow of our screens, there's a quiet ache, an emptiness that technology cannot soothe. We wake to endless notifications, but not to wonder. We scroll through hundreds of faces, but rarely touch a single soul. The modern paradox is this: we have everything that makes life easier, and almost nothing that makes it meaningful. Every morning, instead of gratitude, we rehearse anxiety. We count the hours before the next meeting, the next bill, the next expectation. We chase moments of relief, a like, a message, a distraction, anything to escape the echo inside. But the irony is cruel. The more we try to escape the emptiness, the louder it grows. The more we run toward what sparkles, the further we drift from what shines quietly within. In a world obsessed with progress, we mistake movement for meaning. We believe the faster we move, the more alive we become, forgetting that aliveness isn't measured in speed, but in depth. We are drowning in information, but starving for wisdom. Surrounded by voices, but deprived of silence. And yet, every so often, something pierces through. A child's laughter, a stranger's kindness, the sound of rain against glass. In those fragile instants, the illusion falters. We feel something raw and unspoken, a reminder that being alive isn't about control, but connection. But instead of listening, we move on, because stillness feels dangerous. In stillness, the truths we've buried begin to rise. The noise we create isn't accidental, it's armor. We keep busy not because we love productivity, but because we fear meeting ourselves. We call it modern life, but perhaps it's just a more elegant form of distraction. And so each morning, we rush past the miracle, the simple fact that we exist. The Dalai Lama's words sound almost naive in this context. Today, I am fortunate to be alive. But maybe that's the kind of naivete the world needs, a radical act of remembrance. To see breath not as background, but as blessing. To look at the morning light not as routine, but as renewal. We are not meant to live half awake. We are not meant to confuse existence with survival. Because one day, perhaps soon, perhaps far, the morning will come, but we won't. And all the things that kept us too busy will vanish into the silence we once feared. So the question isn't whether life is precious. It's whether we are awake enough to notice. But what if gratitude isn't something we feel after life gives us what we want, but something that reveals we already have enough? Gratitude. It sounds like a moral accessory, a polite emotion reserved for holidays and hashtags. But in truth, it's one of the most radical forms of awareness a human being can cultivate. Because gratitude is not about saying thank you for what's perfect. It's about seeing perfection in what already is. It is not an emotion we wait for. It is a discipline we return to. Most of us live as if life were a test, something to pass, to prove, to perfect. But life is not an exam. It's a presence, a single fleeting invitation to feel what it means to be alive. The Dalai Lama's words, "Today I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life. I will use it well," are not a gentle reminder. They are a quiet rebellion against the unconscious way we drift through our days. Because to wake up aware is to challenge an entire culture built on forgetting. We live in a society that teaches us to measure, to compare, to upgrade, to believe that satisfaction lies somewhere else. And yet, the deeper philosophy is simpler. Nothing is missing. The miracle is not hidden in what we lack. It's already pulsing in what we overlook. The great paradox of being human is that we spend our lives chasing the extraordinary, while the extraordinary was always hidden in the ordinary. The warmth of sunlight on your face, the rhythm of your breath when you stop to notice, the quiet joy that appears when you no longer demand life to be different. Gratitude transforms the ordinary into revelation. It does not change what we see, it changes the seer. When you learn to look with presence, even pain becomes a teacher. Loss becomes a mirror. Every imperfection becomes a doorway to understanding that nothing, not even suffering, is wasted in the unfolding of awareness. In Buddhist thought, this awareness is a form of liberation, not because it removes suffering, but because it removes resistance to what is. When we stop fighting reality, we begin to see it clearly. Imagine your life as a fragile cup of water. When you grasp it tightly, trying to control every drop, it spills. But when you hold it gently, with reverence, it stays full. Gratitude is that gentleness. It is not loud or dramatic. It doesn't beg the universe for more. It bows to the mystery of enough. And in that bow, something shifts. The mind slows. The heart expands. What once felt small becomes sacred. You begin to see that awareness itself, the simple act of noticing, is the greatest privilege of being alive. There are billions of beings who will never have your breath, your mind, your moment. You, the consciousness that reads these words, are not an accident. You are the universe becoming aware of itself for a fleeting instant. To live with that awareness is to live in constant awe. And yet, awe demands humility. It asks you to stop trying to be the author of life, and instead, become its witness. It asks you to stop measuring your days by achievements, and start measuring them by presence. When you can wake and say, "I am alive," and that is enough, you are no longer trapped in the cycle of becoming. You have arrived. This is the essence of all spiritual traditions, though few live it fully. Lao Tzu called it returning to the source. The Buddha called it seeing things as they are. The Stoics called it amor fati, the love of one's fate. Different names for the same realization. Life is not to be conquered, it is to be met. When you meet life, truly meet it, the constant inner war dissolves. The need to control softens into curiosity. The hunger for more transforms into reverence for what is. And then, something extraordinary happens. You begin to participate in existence, rather than consume it. You listen more deeply. You speak more gently. You give without calculation. You start to notice the infinite miracles embedded in a single, ordinary day. The way light falls across the floor. The way laughter echoes and disappears. The way your own breath reminds you that you are temporary, and that this temporariness is what makes everything beautiful. This is not idealism. It's reality, seen clearly. Because when you strip away the noise of expectation, what remains is aliveness. And aliveness is enough. So the next time you wake, before your mind rushes to the endless to-do, let your first thought be this: I am here. I am breathing. I have a chance to love, to fail, to begin again. That is the purest form of wealth a human can possess. The Dalai Lama's teaching is not about religion. It's about remembering. Remembering that you were not guaranteed this sunrise. That life does not owe you another moment. That gratitude is not a reaction. It's a recognition. Because the moment you recognize the miracle of being alive, everything changes. The chaos remains, but your relationship to it transforms. You begin to see that the world doesn't need to slow down for you to find peace. You just need to wake up to the stillness within it. And in that stillness, gratitude becomes not a feeling, but a way of seeing. A way of living that says, this is enough. I am enough. Life as it is enough. That, in its simplest form, is enlightenment in disguise. Gratitude is the art of attention. The more deeply you notice, the more fully you live. The silence we fear might be full of answers. There was once an old monk who lived in a small temple high in the mountains. Every dawn he would wake before the sun, walk barefoot into the courtyard, and bow to the morning sky. His robes were torn, his meals simple, his life unnoticed by the world below. One day, a young traveler arrived, restless, ambitious, searching for wisdom that could make his life extraordinary. He had read about this monk's calm and wanted to know his secret. "Teach me how to find peace," he demanded. The old monk smiled, offering him a bowl of tea. The young man waited for words, for philosophy, for something profound. But the monk simply sipped in silence. The sound of water pouring, the wind brushing through the trees. That was his only answer. Frustrated, the traveler said, "You don't understand. My life is chaos. I've worked, studied, meditated, yet I feel nothing. I came here for truth." The monk poured another cup. The young man, exasperated, interrupted again, and the tea spilled over, burning his hands. "See?" the monk said softly. "This cup is you. So full of effort and noise, there is no room for peace." He gestured toward the horizon, where the first light began to touch the clouds. "Every morning, I thank the day before it begins. Not because it promises comfort, but because it promises existence. Gratitude is not for what happens. it is for the chance to meet what happens. The young traveler was silent. For the first time, he noticed the warmth of the sun creeping across the stones, the rhythm of his own breath, the steam rising from his cup. Everything ordinary suddenly shimmered with quiet perfection. Days passed. He stayed with the monk, working, cleaning, sitting in silence. There were no grand lessons, only life unfolding moment by moment. One evening, the traveler asked, "Master, what if tomorrow brings sorrow?" The monk smiled again. "Then bow to sorrow. It is also alive." That night a storm came, fierce and unrelenting. The traveler lay awake, terrified. But the monk sat outside beneath the temple roof, watching the rain fall. When morning came, the world was drenched and gleaming. The monk handed the young man a broom. "Now," he said, "begin again." As they swept the courtyard together, the traveler understood. Peace wasn't hidden in the absence of storms. It was found in the act of sweeping after them, in meeting life without resistance. Years later, when he finally returned to the city, he carried no scriptures, no grand revelations, only a habit. Each morning before speaking, he would pause and whisper, "Today I am fortunate to be alive." He became known as a kind man, but no one knew why. He wasn't rich or famous. He still faced loss, failure, heartbreak. Yet those who met him said he carried a strange light, a stillness that made others slow down in his presence. Because gratitude had become his way of seeing. He no longer waited for life to be perfect before he loved it. He loved it because it was impermanent, unpredictable, alive. And when people asked for his secret, he would tell the story of the monk who poured tea until it overflowed, and remind them, peace is not found when the cup is full. It's found when you stop trying to fill it. The traveler never saw the old monk again, but every time dawn arrived, he would bow to the light, knowing the same sun was rising over that distant mountain. The same breath shared by all who remembered to wake up, truly wake up, to this precious human life. And in that bow, he understood what the monk had meant all along. Gratitude is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of being alive. Sometimes losing yourself is the only way to be found. There comes a moment in every life when the illusion of permanence collapses. It might arrive as loss, illness, aging, or simply the quiet realization that time is not endless. And in that moment, all the noise that once seemed so important fades, until what remains is something raw, almost unbearable in its simplicity. You are alive, but not forever. We spend years preparing for everything except impermanence. We insure our homes, protect our bodies, plan our futures, but rarely do we prepare our hearts to let go. Yet, strangely, it is this awareness of ending that makes each moment infinite. When we understand that everything, every breath, every sunrise, every love is temporary, we begin to see it as sacred. Gratitude stops being an idea, it becomes an act of reverence. You start to realize that to love life is to love its fragility. The Dalai Lama's words, "I will use this life well," are not a call to productivity. They are a call to presence. To use life well does not mean to fill it with achievements. It means to inhabit it fully before it slips away. Imagine for a moment that you could feel this truth in your bones, that nothing is guaranteed, that every person you love is a temporary constellation in your sky. Would you rush through the day as you do now? Would you look past the faces you meet? Or would you look into them, searching for the silent miracle of their existence? This is where the philosophy meets the heart. Gratitude is no longer abstract. It becomes visceral. It trembles inside you, not because life is perfect, but because it is fleeting. One day, the hands that type, hold, create, will rest. The eyes that see beauty and pain will close. The voice that speaks love will fall silent. And yet, even knowing this, life continues to offer itself to you, endlessly, generously, forgivingly. It asks for only one thing in return: your awareness. When you finally see that every breath is borrowed, something softens. Anger turns into tenderness. Fear dissolves into awe. The need to win, to prove, to compete, loses its power. Because when you wake up to the truth of impermanence, you stop demanding that life be easy and start marveling that it exists at all. It is in this surrender that gratitude becomes love, not sentimental love, but love as perception. You begin to see that everything you touch, everything you lose, everything you grieve, is life saying, "Feel me while I'm here." And when you can feel it, fully, painfully, beautifully, that is the moment you are truly awake. Not half alive in the shadow of what could be, but fully present in the brilliance of what is. You don't need to escape life to find peace. You need only to return to the miracle that was always waiting, right here, in the quiet pulse of this breath, in the beating of this heart. To be alive is not to own time, it is to be touched by it. And in that touch, fleeting, tender, eternal, you remember, you are not living toward something. You are living through everything. Before we understand, when morning comes again, it will look ordinary. The same sky, the same walls, the same rhythm of traffic and birdsong. But if you listen differently, you'll hear something else beneath it all. A quiet invitation. Each sunrise is not just a beginning. It's a reminder that you were chosen once more to participate in existence. Not to perfect it, not to control it, but simply to be here. You don't need to travel to a temple or wait for a crisis to awaken. You only need to stop, right now, and feel the astonishing truth that you exist. Your lungs expand. Your heart keeps time with the universe. Your awareness, fragile yet infinite, witnesses it all. This moment is not small. It is everything. So, when you wake tomorrow, before touching your phone, before remembering who you must become, whisper to yourself, "Today, I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life. I will not waste it." Then rise, slowly, intentionally, as if the earth itself were giving you permission to begin again. Let this be your quiet revolution, not the pursuit of more, but the return to what was sacred all along. Because the greatest act of wisdom is not in knowing the truth, but in living it. And the greatest act of gratitude is not in speaking it, but in being it. Awareness is the prayer. Life itself is the temple. Pause. Breathe. You are here, and that is enough. Every day we awaken is a new invitation to meet life, not as a possession, but as a privilege. And others, we must dare to face ourselves.